This is a piece that was originally about social justice warriors on college campuses. These are these uptight, oversensitive, PC fucking dirtbags who have been brainwashed by these authoritarian Marxist communist assholes. And they have turned our college campuses into Orwellian shitholes. And they think that an entire college campus should be turned into a safe space to take away freedom of speech because they are a bunch of uptight, oversensitive crybabies. But I don't just hate these people so much, but I had to deal with uptight, closed-minded assholes throughout my life who wanted to take away my freedom of speech. And because I have Asperger's, I was unaware of social cues, which is also known as saying the wrong thing. But then I'd come to the conclusion that these social cues don't make any sense. So people can take their social cues and stick it up their ass. I had to go through a lot of this shit from my parents, especially my father, who had to stick up his ass whenever I used crude sexual humor. And all this shit started back when I was 6 years old, when my father was getting horse shit. And he was going to use fertilizer, and all I did was I called it horse poo-poo, and my father went fucking ape shit. And told me that the proper thing to call it is horse manure. And after I moved to Florida, my life turned into complete shit, and it caused me to have at least a mild case of PTSD because Florida is a fucking cesspool of fucking shit. And not only that, the weather is too fucking hot there. But the good news is it caused me to up the ante of the amount of crude sexual humor that I used. And I remember how nice it was when I used to sleep with my cat. I often had to take the cat to the litter box because he had to take a piss. And as soon as the cat started taking a piss, I would say, "You're pissing, you're taking a piss." And my father said, "Is that any way to talk to a cat?" I don't think the cat really gives a rat's ass if I say that to him. Cats don't have a stick up their ass like humans do. I remember the time when my brother was over, and I talked about the time when my friend June sucked the guy's dick, and she got a pubic hair stuck in her throat. And my father went fucking ape shit after I said that. But with all the horrible shit that happened to me, I didn't give a fuck. Now, whenever shit happened to me, my parents told me that it was always my fault. There was a time that I stayed with a guy in New York who turned out to be a high-strung asshole. He's homeless now. But it didn't work out that I stayed with him, and I told my parents, without even going into any explanations, but my father just jumped to the conclusion that it was all my fault because he had a tendency to be an asshole. And whenever I lost a job, it was always my fault. And there was a time when I had my hours cut severely where I worked, and my mother told me that it was all my fault because I was a little bit late for work. I told my mother, don't worry. He decided to forgive me as soon as I agreed to suck his dick. My mother was offended after I said that, but I was offended with the way my parents treated me, so I got even. This uptight society that we live in really gets on my fucking nerves. I remember when they used to call toilet paper, but they changed it to bathroom, calling it bathroom tissue. But people are so fucking uptight, they now call it bath tissue. People don't use toilet paper to take a bath. They use toilet paper to wipe their vile, yucky, repulsive ass after they take a shit. And it fucking stinks, and it's Satan who causes your shit to stink. A turd is nothing more than a piece of Satan that drops out of your sphincter. It's because shit stinks that causes so many people to turn out to be fucking assholes, which is all part of Satan's plan to control this world. It did not always stink real bad when someone took a shit. Back in the year 1000 BC, people were able to take a shit and it did stink. Also, if someone stuck their dick up someone's ass and if they got a piece of fecal matter on their dick, it was considered sexy. Back in those days, people were taught to worship and appreciate the miracle of a bowel movement as a gift from God because a bowel movement made fertilizer for Mother Earth. It was poo-poo that made it possible for fruits and vegetables to grow into and for people to eat. After they ate it, it would then be pooped out of their asshole. This is what is known as the cycle of life, but some people refer to it as the cycle of turds. Life was so good back in those days, farmers would pay people money, and the only thing they needed to do was take a shit. Nice work if you can get it. It was not unusual for a wife to have a bowel movement on her husband while they were in the middle of having sex. And he would often say, "Honey, I find the aroma of your stool to be so enchanting, and tomorrow I'm going to take your turds to Farmer McDonald, and he's going to give us some money." Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on his farm he had some turds. For Mother Earth, E-I-E-I-O, with a poop here and poop there, everywhere, poop. But today, people would consider having a bowel movement on someone having sex to be gross. But you gotta remember, shit didn't stink back in the good old days. Now back in those days, there was very little crime because there wasn't any poverty. People felt good about themselves, they felt good about each other, and there was peace on earth and goodwill towards men. People even felt good about their own shit. This did not sit too well with Lucifer. Satan knew that he could take over the world by causing your shit to stink, and that's exactly what he did. Satan sent his demons all over the world, and he infected your stool with germs and bacteria. And as soon as people took a shit, the smell was fucking horrible. People started to hate themselves and each other because their shit stank so bad. And this is what caused the first wars to break out. And Christianity, along with all the other horrible religions in the world that want to control you and force their laws down their throat in countries, and Christianity and the others are all Satan's favorite religions because it teaches and indoctrinates people into hating sex and hating themselves and hating each other. But the most important thing that religion teaches people is that getting fucked in the ass is a sin, because shit comes out of your ass, and it stinks all because of Satan. And Satan is a bad motherfucker. If it didn't stink so bad when people took a shit, they wouldn't be so uptight when it comes to sexual issues, especially when it comes to getting fucked in the ass. And I often think about some guy who enjoys fucking his girlfriend in the ass, and he often gets a piece of fecal matter on his dick, and the smell is fucking horrible. But when he watches a porno film, the guy never gets a piece of fecal matter on his dick. And why is that? It's because the people who star in porno films are space aliens. Who look like humans. And space aliens live in a much more advanced civilization than we do, which is why the guy never gets a piece of fecal matter on his dick in the porno film. Unless it's a scat. I previously talked about girls and one couple in the end, but I'm afraid there's no time to talk about that one, even though it's very interesting and disgusting. So, the next question to ask is, how does a space alien take a shit? There are many different ways. In civilizations that are only slightly more advanced than Earth, people walk around naked and they take a shit on the floor. Even in restaurants, they take a shit on the floor, and they don't have bathrooms either. And you may be thinking, isn't that way more disgusting than it is on Earth? No, it isn't. Their lakes and rivers are not polluted like on Earth because Earth is controlled by Satan. When a space alien takes a shit on the floor, people start praying to the poo-poo gods, and the poo-poo gods then drop out of the sky and they clean up the mess. This can take anywhere from a few seconds to several minutes. The harder that people pray to the poo-poo gods, the sooner the poo-poo gods drop out of the sky and they clean up the mess. And in more advanced civilization, the excrement disappears so fast after someone takes a shit, you don't even know that they took a shit. And in more advanced civilizations than that, the excrement evaporates as it's going through the intestines. Now, wouldn't it be nice if you didn't have to take a shit anymore? Or how about returning back to the days when taking a shit used to be sexy? And I can hear some fucking imbecile with no imagination saying, if you don't go to the bathroom, then your system will be all full of toxic poison and you get sick. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about more empowering ways of processing your shit so it doesn't stink. Now, if someone took a shit on the floor on Earth, do you really think that the poo-poo gods will drop out of the sky and clean up the mess? Of course not, because this planet is controlled by Satan. And not only that, this planet sucks. Now, there's only one way to take this planet back, and that is allow the crystal children to have more power. And I happen to be one of the original crystal children, which can also be known as having Asperger's syndrome.
Nah.
But it's the crystal children who are the ones who have the imagination. Does that mean that being one of the crystal children means that your shit won't stink? Unfucking fortunately, their shit stinks for choosing to have the incarnation on this planet of stupidity and shit, no pun intended. It stinks very bad when a cat takes a shit, and cats are very angry at Satan for causing their shit to stink. Which is why they bury their turds in the litter box when they take a shit, because they are trying to send those turds to hell to be with the devil. Now you are the ones who got to see my fringe show, which means that you are one of the chosen people. Even if you didn't like it. Congratulations. There are 7 billion people on this planet of stupidity, and you are the ones who get to learn that Satan causes your poop to stink. And you are the very few out of the billions who will be exposed to my very unique, thought-provoking ideas. If you like my show, write a review. If you don't like my show, write a review. But that'll actually cause more people to want to see it, because controversy creates publicity.
Yeah.
Anyway, also someone needs to come along and pay me $1 million for my spoken words, because if someone comes along and pays me $1 million for my spoken words, then I wouldn't have to be collecting disability anymore, and then I would be rewarded for my unique gifts and talents. Well, thanks for seeing my fringe show, as I greatly appreciate it as I transition into the conclusion of this show. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you didn't have to take a shit anymore? And just imagine what this world would be like if people didn't have to take a shit anymore. Just imagine. Imagine there's no more pooping. It's easy if you try. No sewers below us. Above us, only birds that don't leave their repulsive white splats of shit all over the place. Imagine all the people and birds living without taking a shit. They may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Well, with that in mind, when the day comes that shit don't stink again, there'll be peace on earth again at last.